Today, we're diving into a really profound teaching from the Buddha. But what's amazing is how he explained it, not through some complex text, but in a simple conversation with the king, using an analogy that every single one of us can understand, a dream. So just imagine for a second, you're this king. The Buddha turns to you and asks the simple but incredibly deep question. Think about the last dream you can remember. You know, the places, the people you saw, the things you felt. Was any of it actually real? And the king's answer is exactly what you or I would say. It's immediate. It's obvious. No. A dream is a dream, right? And with that one little word, that simple agreement, the Buddha lays the groundwork for a massive lesson about the nature of our waking life. Now, here's the brilliant part. The Buddha doesn't launch into some dense philosophical lecture. Nope. He gets really specific, and he paints two very, very different kinds of dreams to make his point crystal clear. So, on one hand, he describes a wonderful dream. You're hearing beautiful music, eating an incredible meal, or maybe you're with someone you love. But then he flips the script and describes a total nightmare, the pain of being separated from your family, or something as horrifying as finding a corpse tied to your neck. So then he asks the next logical question. When you wake up, does it make any sense to desperately cling to the memory of that pleasant dream, or to fall into despair over the scary one? The king, of course, agrees that would be totally foolish. Why exhaust yourself over something that was never really there to begin with? And this is the masterstroke. This is where it all clicks. The Buddha takes that simple logic about our sleeping dreams and he applies it directly to our waking lives, showing us that we react to the real world in pretty much the exact same foolish way. He breaks down the process for us, this chain of cause and effect. It all starts with something simple, sensory contact. We see something, we hear something, we feel something. It can be pleasant or unpleasant. Then, almost instantly, our mind latches on. We either want it, that's attachment, or we want to get away from it, that's aversion. And that clinging, that push and pull, is what leads us to act. That's karma. And it's the momentum of all that karma that just keeps propelling us forward. But that brings up a really fascinating question, right? If our actions create this karmic force, what is it? Like, where does it go after you've done something? Is it stored in a file somewhere? And the Buddha's answer here is just mind-bending. He says karma is not a thing. It doesn't have a location. It doesn't have a GPS coordinate. Once an action is over, its karmic energy doesn't live in the north, south, east, or west. It's completely formless, kind of like an echo after the sound is gone. And yet, this formless, placeless force is incredibly powerful. At the moment of death, as that last flicker of consciousness in this life begins to fade, the memories of our past actions come rushing to the surface. And it's the weight and direction of all that formless karma that literally propels the very next moment of consciousness to arise in a brand new existence, whether that's as a human, an animal, or in some other realm. So, and this is maybe the most crucial takeaway of all. There's no permanent soul or fixed self that packs its bags and moves from one life to the next. The Buddha is super clear on this. There is no solid doer of an action and no solid receiver of its consequences. It's just an unbroken, impersonal stream of cause and effect, kind of like using one candle to light the next one. The flame continues, but it's not the exact same flame. Okay, so if our entire life is operating like this dream, driven forward by this invisible, formless, karmic momentum, the huge question is, how do we break the cycle? How do we finally wake up? The secret, the Buddha says, is to see things as they really are. And their true nature is a concept called emptiness. Now wait, that doesn't mean nothingness or that nothing exists. Not at all. It means that all things, without any exception, are devoid of inherent self-nature. They don't have a fixed, solid, independent identity of their own. And when he says everything, he means everything. Our own consciousness, empty of a fixed self. The karma we create, empty. The very ideas of birth and death, empty. The entire world we see around us, yep, empty too. Even the ultimate goal of nirvana is empty of a fixed essence. Everything is interconnected and constantly changing, just like the scenery in a dream. When you truly start to see this reality, it opens up the path to freedom. It's a path that's often described as having 3 gates. First, you enter the gate of emptiness by seeing things as they are. That leads you to the gate of signlessness, where you stop getting caught up in their appearances. And finally, that brings you through the gate of wishlessness, where you become free from that constant wanting and craving. So let's bring this all home. The Buddha's powerful final words of advice to the king really bring this entire analogy full circle, not just for him, but for all of us. And here it is, the ultimate takeaway. Our very tools for perceiving the world, our senses, are like an illusion. And because of that, everything they perceive, all the sights, the sounds, the feelings of our life, they're all just as temporary and just as insubstantial as a dream. So you see, this ancient teaching isn't just explaining some dogma, it's giving us a powerful way to look at our own lives. If every experience we have, from our greatest joys to our deepest sorrows, is as fleeting and unreal as a dream, it leaves us with one profound question to take with us. How then shall we awaken?